Hello, hello, hello. You're listening to the Liverpool Improvisation Festival interviews. Joining me now on the line are Mike and Fergus. Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
It's a pleasure to have you. And as an introduction to yourselves, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about your improv ancestors or the people who have inspired you in the world of improvisation.
Oh God, I'll go first on that. Well, I started improv when I did a 1-year foundation course at a drama school in London called Lambda, and I was lucky enough. This was in 2008, and I was lucky enough that Adam Megiddo from Showstopper had just taken over the course, and he had just gotten into improv, and it was that year that he did the first Showstopper, the improvised musical. So I was very, very lucky, as he was very passionate, and we had improv scheduled 3 times a week into our curriculum. And I actually hated it, to be honest, at first. I was like, I don't get this thing. I was more interested in scripts, and I enjoyed his classes. I thought he was brilliant. But for ages, I was like, I don't really get it the way other people did. And then we did an end of year show, which was like an improvised soap opera, but it was like we did two rehearsals kind of behind closed doors of it, and then the third episode was live in front of an audience. And I remember the show went really well, and I remember also feeling like, if I just accept everything, it's all going to be fine. And a really good show, and I remember I sent an email to my dad the next day going, I did this thing, and it was like walking through a street naked and no one cared, because that's how kind of like free I felt doing it.
That is a legendary origin story. I literally was just reading about you. I have Adam's book right here. And I was reading it, and it was talking about the first class of Lambda. So you that's crazy.
So a lot of those people in Mischief Theatre who did the play that goes wrong were in my class.
That's so fun. Wow.
Yeah. And then I basically came to Liverpool after I went on from there to go to Central School of Speech and Drama. Ended up in Liverpool afterwards and spent quite a long time trying to find people who would do improv with me. But I only sort of got back into it in the lockdown properly, because I found a bunch of people who were doing it, and they were like, let's do it online. And then we've been putting shows on ever since for like the last 5 years regularly around the city. So so they're my ancestors. Of course, I have to mention the School of Night. They're incredible. I don't know if you know them, but they're brilliant.
Yes, they were at the festival last year, and I think this year as well. I'm so impressed by them. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing. And just watching them the first time doing like improvised sonnets and stuff, I was just like, what is this dark magic?
That is brilliant. Okay, well, Fergus, how about you? What background are you bringing into this?
A far less glamorous one than Mike. I was thinking about your question at the beginning of the week, and I think subconsciously I could dial it back to Mock the Week. Just like being in awe of these comedians who could stand up, having just been asked this like randomly generated question, and could just ramble for minutes on end and going, yeah, that's really cool. And then only kind of realizing what it was after I came to university, where I happened to study under Mark. And so kind of learned through him the greatness of improv.
That is brilliant. So you're directly were Dr. Mark Smith's student in university, in the university context. Those are 2 amazing backstories. All right, you've gotten that out of the way. What show now are you bringing to the festival this year?
Before we do that, if I can briefly try and link those 2 together. I think the great thing about bringing Fergus on board is Adam Megiddo's book is called Improv Beyond Rules. And it kind of talks back about getting back to basic principles on improv. And I think the great thing is that Mark sort of took Fergus in for this show and was like, gave him a crash course in improv in like, a couple of hours or something. Just like, don't need to do that. Stop doing that. Don't try and be clever. Don't do this. Stop it all. And then it's been great, isn't it?
Yeah, I got rinsed for about 4 sessions. And then it's been like brilliant since.
Wow. So this was the first show that you're doing?
Yes, improv-wise, this is the first show that I'm doing. So I feel very privileged and very honoured to be doing it alongside Mark and Mike. Watching them kind of week in, week out is always just a joy.
Oh, that is brilliant. So you're bringing a background of energy, new ideas, and just a brilliant perspective. Okay.
I hope so.
That is so fun. But okay, now we do have to get to what the show is.
The show is called Gricers. It's about, it revolves around me and Mark, two Trainspotters. But essentially it's about, it's an exploration of male friendship. And it's sort of what do people, and it's trying to, you could call it a comparative to something like Waiting for God in terms of what do these people do when they're just waiting around. Mm-hmm. They're waiting to see their trains. It's a very small town, and it's sort of what do they talk about and what do they get up to.
Mm-hmm. And how does Fergus come into the show?
Fergus is the guy who is the far too good-looking guy that works on the train platform.
There's always got to be one.
So he's the train the kind of passes in and out sort of as the time passes, having conversations with us. The show takes place over a year, so sort of Fergus bobs in and out as the train worker.
Oh wow! So each scene there's a big time jump in between each of the scenes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Kind of each scene is a new season.
Are you aiming to have some of them hit high points of emotional intensity, or is the aim just those slice of life throughout? Yeah,
so slice of life. It does have an emotional intensity at times, although how intense that is, obviously with it being improvised, we don't try to force what it is. We just kind of see that there's something going on. There's always a kind of problem that one of the characters has, and we explore that. It's been everything from like ill mothers to like job replacement from AI to like a false dementia diagnosis we had the other week, which ended up not being true. It's really fun. So the answer is that we do go for a little bit of emotional intensity, but try not to force it, try and let it emerge.
Wow. And how did you, what made you choose Trainspotters, and how did you go about building the show and researching?
It was interesting because Mark, so me and Mark kind of wanted to play and create something together. I was keen to create something that I do another show called Stupid with it, which is a very ridiculous, big, over-the-top, daft show. And I was more like, I want to do something that I kind of wanted to feel a bit more like a play, and I wanted to. My only kind of brief to Mark was like, I want to do something that feels where people could see it and they could go, I can't believe that wasn't scripted. Mm-hmm. And so that was his thing. And he came back with this, like, I've got this idea about Trainspotters. And originally I think it was a bit more revolved around the Trainspotting when we first started working it. But actually, as one of the things I love about improv is when you put two people together, it's like, how do these two people play together well? Mm-hmm. And me and Mark just found there's a certain way that we play together that works in this particular relationship. And we found that it was coming out of this kind of like artful wittering of kind of talking bollocks, but, letting, crafting it into something. Yeah. What about you, Fergus? How did Mark approach you with it?
Mark,
did you know what it would be about before he brought you in?
No, Mark came to me saying, I have an idea and I'd like you to be involved. And before he could finish explaining, I was like, yeah. And it really has, like, looking back at our first rehearsal has really kind of evolved and changed in a really organic and lovely way. It's through each rehearsal that we explore something new, or something comes up that we go, actually, that was really nice, or that was shit, let's not do that. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of, it's found its way to this point where we're at now, where it is it could be a fun, happy, sad, or discouraging performance. It really could be anything under the sun, but it's always good fun to be involved with.
Have there been any moments that you remember as either particular challenges that you overcame or particular joys that emerged where you're like, this changed the course of the show?
To be fair, the biggest challenge for me, and like will continue to be, is to not laugh during the performance itself. It's like there have been weeks where I've genuinely been left in tears over things that have been like that have just appeared, whether at like the drop of a hat or have built. But like I laugh at a lot of things, but this really tickles me. It really, and it's going to be tricky to not laugh while we perform it.
I think I'd also just add to that, like, well, I do remember Mark turning up with a massive dictaphone one week to try and just including it in the show, and it was like about the size of an A4 piece of paper or something, this massive thing, and was recording me, walking around in the show, recording me, and making me react to that, so that was fun. But also, as I say, with this being a little bit more theatrical than sort of than a lot of improv that's just sort of like long form Harold or something, we allow ourselves to go to places that we might not normally go because we're exploring their characters. So, for example, like, you know, we've had characters with different political views, and then it's like trying to air them out on stage. That can be fun and interesting because it's also like you might be taking in a view that you don't agree with, but you're trying to justify it as best as possible. So that makes it interesting when you're playing that and you're trying to do it justice, but also not go to kind of some kind of crazy town.
Yeah, it's a dangerous line to walk, but it's a very exciting one.
Yeah. I think me and Mark got in this to kind of challenge each other. We kind of we enjoy challenging each other, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you trust each other enough to be able to start pushing, and okay, I got to assume this person's coming from a place of good intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wondering, this is not one of the listed questions, but in terms of, because Mark is not here on this interview, and I know that with the theatrical improv, Mark is often thinking a lot about the openings and closings of shows and certain particular beats. Is there any part of the show that you could reveal that is like how it's choreographed or how it physically actually looks on the stage?
Ooh. Good question.
It's a good question. There's kind of loads, but there's one thing that's in my mind, but I don't want to give it away because it will kind of give away towards the end of the show. But there are a lot of moves. I remember as well when he invited some friends to come along and watch it just to kind of check if it was making sense. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he said to them afterwards was, "Can you see what we're doing?" And I thought that was a good insight to him because it's like, oh, and they said no, and he was like, "Good, then we're doing it right."
Okay, so it's a secret. It's carefully thought out, but you have to see it live for yourself.
Yeah, I think also, just add to that as well, I think there's moves in the sense of the choreography of like a directing a play. Mm-hmm. And then I think there's little things that have emerged between us, almost like an unwritten vocabulary, mm-hmm. if you know what I mean. So not cueing each other, but just sort of... for example, quite often we'll be on a train of thought and a thread, and it'll come to a natural end. And like if we're arguing, I often find myself going, yeah. If I'm done with that argument now, but it kind of just happened naturally out of repeatedly doing it, and then Mark will keep going. I'll go, yeah, move on. But so it's like a little signal without meaning to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's starting to get into my next question already, which is, what is special about the way that you improvise? Or do you feel proud of as like a stamp of the Mike or Fergus way of improvisation that has emerged from this show?
Gosh, that's blowing smoke up your own arse. Well, I will say that it's been a joy to watch Fergus grow and develop as we've been doing this. Mm-hmm. He's gone from like no experience whatsoever to like a really good, competent improviser in like a very short amount of time.
I think it's been, to kind of build on that, it's been made really easy for me to do so. Like studying under two unbelievable improvisers, it's like I said earlier, like all of our rehearsals are a joy to watch. Like there's things that I have read or have studied, and in theory I could be like, yeah, cool, I can do that. But being able to watch it unfold and take notes on how to actually implement them is, it makes things a world easier.
Yeah.
Being able to watch these two amazing people play.
Yeah, but I wouldn't undersell what you're bringing either. I feel like that people's first show is often like the best. Like first and last shows are often total pinnacles because that energy that you have when you come in is just brilliant.
Oh, well, I can't wait then.
Yeah.
Mark's a joy to play with, and I think what's special about this show that people would really enjoy, I think, is there is that theatricality to it, and what we both have is a sense of that. Like, so it feels like you're scripting dialogue as it goes along, and I feel like when I improvise with Mark, like I can do something very small, or I can leave a silence, and we can both sit in the silence, and it's not going to be destroyed by somebody rushing to the next line. There's a lot of if people are more inclined to like theatrical stuff, they will definitely get a lot from this.
Yeah. How did you work on making improv feel scripted? What was that practice process like?
Oh man, such a practice. I'd say it comes down to, but in terms of actually really making it feel scripted, often comes down to like simple things like don't rush your dialogue, don't, like when you end a sentence, end it clearly.
I think it also helps as it's kind of, we've gone on, the chemistry that's been built up between us. There's a much stronger level of trust that we know that we can all pick up where needed and not feel isolated at any point. It's a real, just trust that kind of I have with these two and that I hope they have with me.
You know, it's often interesting because I like to, if I'm starting a new project, it's quite useful to think about why am I improvising this? Like, why isn't it a scripted play? Why isn't it like, and one of the things it often is like sketch stuff and stuff is just like you surprise yourself, right? You surprise yourself with what you come up with. I think that's true with this, but I think what Mark said and it really hit home is he said the improvising here actually allows us to create more realistic dialogue than if we scripted it. And I love that. I think that's great because it does, because you don't, like, life is messy in the way you speak. You do speak over each other. You do hesitate a little bit. You do stumble. You do repeat yourself unnecessarily. All those things kind of overlap and create it, and it becomes a bit like a kind of improvising an orchestra, if you know what I mean. Like it's a lot of pieces, but the payoff is almost better in a way. Yeah,
that's a great reason for why it's more realistic.
Yeah. Speaking of doing what you call it, building up the trust over the time as well. It's been really cool because like I didn't know Mark. I like spoken to him in the pub, like, hey, how you doing? And we had a brief chat at the festival. So I kind of came to it like where I've just spent like a lot of the show, as I say, is like this artful witching where we're having these conversations and they unfold into something. But it's just like I just have an hour. I've spent like an hour every week for the last 3 months just talking to Mark, and now I feel like I know him pretty well.
I had absolutely no idea that was the case. I thought you two had known each other for ages before we started. That is hilarious.
Yeah. Just I probably know quite a lot about Mark's taste in things and opinions on stuff. Just every week, being like, "What do you think about bins? What are your thoughts on suntan lotion?"
Yeah, so it's becoming real. That is fascinating. You mentioned earlier about it being a story about male friendship. Do you think your like individual male friendship as actors is coming through at the like same time as the characters?
Definitely.
Wow. Yeah. How different is it from just having gone out with Mark to look at trains?
Say again, sorry.
How different do you think this experience is from the experience that you would have had if you and Mark had just been friends who decided to go look at trains for an hour every week?
Very different. Well, one of the great things that genuinely think is deep in the friendship is because you have to really listen
Hmm.
in improv. So it's like having a conversation where both people are like fully engaged with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Could you go in the other direction then? Take, a friendship that you have that maybe isn't perfect and be like, all right,
Oh,
what
yeah.
if instead we improvised all our conversations?
I'll take someone like, I feel like I don't really know you anymore because you've changed so much, and then just be like, we're going to do a play together.
Oh, that is lovely. Okay. My next question for you is each of you, what the best piece of improv advice or just life advice that you've received?
Mark, I mean, right off the rip was adamant of just not getting in your own way, of asking, don't try and overcomplicate yourself and just ask the next question. If someone says oh, I'm tired, it's the why. It's a really easy but often overlooked question, and that can get yourself into quite a hole. And so asking what the audience is thinking will only ever help you and your fellow performers.
Yeah, that's great. I remember that when he was telling you that, and it was so useful because everyone thinks about it as a creative thing. So it must be this sort of mad thing where it's like, oh, I'm tired, and you're like, oh yeah, well I haven't slept for months, and there is this crazy mad world, but it's actually like, yeah, I haven't slept. Why? Oh well, I was up late. What were you doing? The next question is, what were you doing? Oh, I was at a rave. What, you were on a rave at a Wednesday? Now we're into something that's unusual, but without having to, it's emerged rather than being created, forced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that is great advice.
For me, there's so many great like improv quotes and things. I think like from like foundationally, like right at the bottom, there was a guy called Ken Campbell who was like a theatre genius,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't say this to me exactly. Someone quoted it to me, but they said improv's only worth doing if it's better than scripts, and I like that because it was also meant to be like the spirit of the thing. It doesn't mean have to be like technically better, but like if the spirit of what you're doing is like there, then it's good. And more recently, Oliver Senton said the scene is in the other person, which is a great piece of advice. Like put your attention on the other person and it'll happen.
Yeah, those are both great pieces of advice. I should make a little compilation of all of these when I get to the end of them.
Definitely do that. Get them on the Instagram.
Yeah, the collective wisdom. And have you felt like you have learned a ton from doing this show?
Oh, so much. So much. Not only about like the practice of improv, but both Mike and Mark. Yeah, it's always just a joy with these two. It really is.
I've learned that I need to take better care of not spilling condiments on my jeans and my clothes because we had a whole session where we were basically like describing each other.
Mhm.
And every week we did it. It was Mike has gravy on his jeans, or Mike's got mayonnaise on his foot. So that's one big thing that I've learned, trying to reduce my condiment spillage. Uh, but yeah, now I've learned loads, especially watching someone like Mark who's got like I don't know, like maybe 10 years experience on me. It's quite amazing to you see like the little moves that he does or the way he thinks about things.
Yeah. And now that you've performed the show several times now at this point, right?
No,
No,
not before. No.
not performed, but you've practiced it many
We have
times.
our first performance in Oxford in this weekend.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. We should have scheduled this interview for next weekend. But do you think that in the practice runs that you've done, are you starting to feel that achievement of what you were saying of like, this feels like scripted theater?
I think so. Yeah, I do actually. What do you
Yeah.
reckon, Fergus?
Oh, easily. I think the emotion that you could get out of this performance could easily rival / better most performances. there's the level of organicness that just kind of flows with this performance that unless you have an unbelievable cast, I don't think you'll find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's PR right there. Look at that.
That is PR. You got to come see. You got to come see the show. I got the treat of getting to listen to a little bit and prep for this interview because Mark said you were thinking about making some audio versions of it, and I had a blast listening to it. It was very, very funny conversation.
It was really fun. It was really fun doing the podcast. I enjoyed that a lot. And we were trying a different format in terms of like we'd seen if our structure would work on the thing, which it didn't quite work, but there was a lot of good fun material in there for sure.
Yeah, it was. I was chuckling quite a bit as I was listening through, and because it's so conversational, I was like, "Wow, you could like hear the trains going by in the museum."
Nice. Well, I can ask you the question then. Did it feel like something that could be scripted?
Yeah, I think it did. I think that it like the specific dialogue nature of it felt very much like you were saying. You could hear the pauses, and you could also hear the specificity of all the different lines and the precision of your speech, which is something that when I'm recording, I'm always thinking about. I'll be editing my own speech, and I'll go back and I'll hear every but, and I'm like no, and I know it felt like an actual script. Yeah.
I can speak quite fast when I'm not on stage, so I have to watch it a lot. Excited, and I'm like,
oh, that's brilliant. Very brilliant. All right. And then as a LIF veteran, I'm also curious about what is your favorite part of LIF or what you're most excited for when you come in? Are you here to see shows, to perform, to do workshops, or what should other people be getting excited about for this LIF 2026?
Honestly, I mean, it's like a hub. It's kind of everything you want. If you're an improv fan, it's like everything you want. You go into a big building where there's loads of improvisers and there's loads of shows going on, and what more can you ask for? Like, really, it's great. It's
also like how vast a catalogue of people are coming. Like they're coming from so many different places. There's so many different influences that like even just being able to have a conversation with 3, 4, 5, 6 people, each one you'll get something new out of.
That's what I'm experiencing having these conversations. I'm so happy here. It's so cool.
The quality as well. The quality is really high, but it's also it's not the great thing about improv is it's so welcoming and warm. That it's not like I'm you go see it and you're like, oh, I can never be that, or those people are going to be being the cool kids in the bar. It's like they're just everyone's as friendly as can be. Yeah.
So the mix of social and artistic. That's brilliant. Is there anything else that you want to sneak into this interview? Something that you feel like you've been thinking a lot about while doing the show, or that you want people to know in the world?
Improv is great. That's all I care about. That's great.
And you said that you've got a show coming up in Oxford. I guess by the time this will be released, that's past. But is there anywhere online that people can go to find out more about Gricers?
They can follow Wing It Improv Instagram.
Wonderful. Wing It Improv on Instagram.
And if they want to keep up with what I'm doing, they can follow either stupid.improv or Burton the mic.
Ooh, that was one more question I had. Who did the costume design for Stupid?
Oh, the 2 PID t-shirts.
Yeah.
I actually don't know that. Someone that Al knows, and I can't take credit. It was Al's idea to have the 2 t-shirts. I said we should have some t-shirts that say stupid, and he was like, no, we should have 2 t-shirts that each say PID, because it'd be like they've forgotten. They've both got the wrong t-shirt.
It was brilliant. Just the second you guys came out, I was like, this is going to be a brilliant show, and it was.
Did you see us at LIF last year?
Yeah, I saw you at LIF. It was one of my favorite shows. It was lovely.
That was great fun as well, because we got announced before that they'd clear the set, so we walked on and the poor girl was there and she was like, I haven't struck the set, and we were like, well, we're here now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm very excited to see the difference between that show and Gricers, because both of them require like extreme trust in your partner and like quick adaptivity, but it seems like they're doing the very opposite things as well.
Yeah, for sure. They are. Yeah, they're a big contrast in terms of shows, but require the same thing. Yeah, the same trust, the same focus, and the same maybe like flexibility, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Well, I can't wait. I'm sure it's going to be another home run. This show is on Thursday, right? Of the So if you want to see Gricers, I think it's going to be Thursday, May 7th at 8:30 p.m. So come out and see it. Thank you guys both so much for coming on to be interviewed. This has been a total blast.
Oh, no, thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Wow.